It's 8 p.m. Welcome to the Citi Newsroom. My name is Nathan Kwao.
And I am Fremedi Nyame. Coming up,
former Vice President Kwesi Mr. Arthur laid to rest.
University Teachers Association of Ghana to go ahead with intended strike despite government's appeal.
Also coming up, over 100 people displaced in Shamar after their homes were washed away by tidal waves. Traders within Ashaiman municipality vowed to continue hawking in spite of accident that claimed one life yesterday. The details now. The former Vice President Kwesi Mr. Arthur was this afternoon laid to rest at the Burma Camp Military Cemetery. Kwesi Mr. Arthur served as Vice President of the Republic from 2012 to 2016. The nation woke to news of Mr. Arthur's demise on June 29 when he collapsed while exercising at the Air Force Gym. Marie-France Forjo chronicles the funeral rites. Now, government is to rename the Maurice Senior High School in the Central Region in honor of late Vice President Kwesi Mr. Arthur. Reading government's tribute at the state-sponsored burial service for Mr. Arthur in Accra today, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia said the decision to rename the school was done in consultation with the family of Mr. Arthur. Defiant traders within the Ashaiman municipality have vowed to continue hawking in spite of the accident that claimed one life yesterday. The 22-year-old lost her life after the driver of a Kia truck ran into some hawkers and pedestrians. According to the traders, they have nowhere to sell their goods as the assembly has failed in securing them a better place to do business. Elvis Washington has more in this report. Now, the Adentan-Medina Highway has become a death trap for residents who ply the road due to the non-completion of 6 footbridges started about 10 years ago. Residents say the absence of these bridges has led to an increase in pedestrians being knocked down by vehicles in the area. There's more in this report by Citi Newsroom's Anne Sheliziu.
This dual carriage highway connects Medina and Adentan in the northeast part of the Greater Accra to the eastern region and the western part of the country through the Tetekwashi interchange. For about 10 years since its construction, the footbridges have been left uncompleted. Unlike many other highways, crossing the road as a pedestrian on this Medina-Adentan stretch has become life-threatening. Pedestrians virtually compete with vehicles for the right to use the road, resulting in knockdowns. Traders and commuters who ply the road say the situation poses a daily threat to their lives.
What happens normally is that when we are to cross, sometimes we need to force ourselves in to cross. Even though the police is standing there, we force ourselves in so that the cars can stop for us to go. And it's dangerous because sometimes the speed the cars takes to come. And when they realize that it's about to show a red light, they always come in top speed, but we are going in, and it's not helping us at all.
As you can see, it's really crowded here, and it's very dangerous for school children, at least the little ones. Even we, the adults, we find it very difficult in crossing the road. So I think the government should do something about this.
Sometimes when the traffic light is red, they are moving.
Now in some other news, despite assurances from the Ghana Water Company Limited GWCL to restore water to the residents of Adabraka and its environs, the residents are yet to experience this. The residents have been living without water running through their taps for the past 3 weeks. However, Yaya Mohammed, who operates a water tank, has been contracted by GWCL to supply water to the residents in the interim as it works to resolve the issue.
The hum of the water pump is music to the ears of these residents. It means the Ghana Water Company is providing much needed relief amid the water crisis.
The Ghana Water Company sent us here because of the struggles here. We were told to supply them.
It's all hands on deck to make hay while the sun shines with minimal waste. This may be the only water supply they get for days.
We have been struggling for water, so you have to go around all the areas chasing for this car for water. So every day you have to be going around all the lanes chasing for water. Sometimes you even go to boreholes to get water. Without this one, we can't get any water.
We are suffering, so we are pleading with the government to intervene so we can have water for our daily activities and also to take care of our children. We beg.
It is not lost on them that the relief is temporary. Alaj Abupele Bajiga is a community leader here, and he's praying the suffering ends soon.
We are now getting a little bit of water for our tankers and buckets, just to alleviate the suffering. I have a big family, and by today, tomorrow, it's finished. And we are praying it should not continue. By next week, at least, we should start getting our water. Especially, here we have soakaway, we have what we call these toilets that we flush. So when you flush one, water is gone. So that is a problem now. Our toilets, yes. So we are praying, and we are requesting for the waterworks to start releasing the water so that we can get relief. Yeah.
Though there is glee yesterday, the smiles on these faces will only last as long as the water and the buckets. The people of Adabraka want their water restored to them now. For Citi News, Farida Youssef.
You're still watching the Citi Newsroom live on Citi TV. We'll take a short break. When we come back, University Teachers Association of Ghana to go ahead with their intended strike despite government's appeal. Don't go anywhere.
It's engaging, detailed, and loaded with factual and incisive analysis. It's The Big Issue, your preferred Saturday morning news and current affairs analysis program on Citi TV. Tune in this and every Saturday at 9 a.m. and hear the newsmakers discuss the top issues for the week.
At that time, Charlotte was complete. I'm not defending Charlotte. I'm talking about the way we behave like hypocrites and ostriches in this country. At that time, she was the perfect person.
It's The Big Issue with Stella Madonu on Citi TV. This and every Saturday at 9 a.m.
Live music, interviews, poetry, and more with your favorite personalities. Be our guest on Saturdays from 2 to 4 p.m. for the most exciting moments on TV. Join Kojo Akoto Boateng for real entertainment right in your living room. Saturday Live on Citi TV and Citi 97.3 FM.
Wherever the weekend sporting action happened, we will bring it to you here on Scorecard. Every goal, every dunk, every punch, the winning strides, and the winning volleys.
International media, he said, look, wait, sit and wait. Let me have a meal with my people. And I think that's the same cool, it's the same organization he brings to the field every time I've seen him play. He looks to me like somebody who has played over 50 caps already. Okay. But this guy has barely played over 25 caps for the national team.
All of the weekend's action in one place. Scorecard, every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. prompt on Citi TV.
Thursday night on Citi TV. You're welcome to join women from different backgrounds and opinions as they weigh in on your relationship issues. Watch Sister Sister as the ladies get real with issues about love, marriage, betrayal, sex, dating, trust, finances, and more. Join Jessica and her sisters for Citi TV's all-women talk show, Sister Sister, every Thursday at 7 p.m. Also, live on 97.3 Citi FM.
Welcome back to the Citi Newsroom live on Citi TV. Let's get back to our earlier story concerning the burial of the former Vice President Kwesi Bekwai in South Africa. This happened earlier today. It was a very solemn ceremony. You have to admit it was very solemn.
It was, and I think it was a reflection on his personality. Kwesi Mr. was a very calm person, a very fine gentleman. You know, you hardly hear him talk, and I think the ceremony reflected who he truly was. But it was interesting, the tribute by the widow.
Yes, it was really, really interesting. It was the talk of the ceremony. She was very frank, very honest, and she let a few hard punches fly. But if you were not there and you missed out, our colleague Marie-France Fojo was there and has chronicled everything that happened earlier today at the burial of the former Vice President Kwesi Bekwai in Mr. Arthur.
The final funeral rites of Vice President Kwesi Arthur began on Thursday when his remains was conveyed from the 37 Military Hospital and laid in state at the Accra International Conference Center, where members of the public had the opportunity to file past his remains and pay their last respect. Dignitaries across the political divide also came to pay homage.
Well, a towering figure and a very, very calm and respectable politician. I think everybody will admit that he was not part of the mudslinging. He never responded, even when he was attacked. And I think that is the way to go in the politics of this country.
I share their pain, I share their agony. But as I said, the Lord heals, time will heal, and they have faith. And I know that with what they are witnessing, the whole nation sympathizing with them, empathizing with them, it will lessen their pain, and the healing process will start pretty soon.
His death makes you lose even your thoughts and words that you should use, because Mr. Arthur is entirely a symbol of humility. He has a very deep understanding of the challenges that faces us as Ghanaians. And he spends his time, his mind, helping us to make sure that we carry everybody along in this country, that the unity of this country does not become a mirage.
Today, Friday, July 29, climaxed the funeral rites. The auditorium of the Accra International Conference Center was, as expected, somber, with hundreds of dignitaries and family members clad in black attire. Notable among those who came to pay their final respect to the late Vice President were the three former presidents, John Dramani Mahama, John Agyekum Kufuor, and Jerry John Rawlings. Vice President Dr. Bawumia and his wife Samira Bawumia also made an appearance. President Akufo-Addo, heralded by his security detail, was the last to file past Emisa Arthur's remains before the casket was closed. Mr. Emisa was a member of the Methodist Church, and Methodist hymn number 832 was the opening hymn for the funeral service. tributes were read by his siblings, children, and his mother. Matilda Emisa Arthur derailed from eulogizing her husband as scripted and had this to say.
Over the last few weeks, I've been amazed at the number of people who have come to show us love. And I ask myself, is this Ghana? Are all these people in Ghana? Because the maligning, the lies, the treachery, the wickedness, the deliberately changing things so that you could look better than others.
After the sermon, necessary protocol was observed and the funeral service ended. Then a convoy escorted by a cross-section of security detail conveyed the remains of Kwesi Emisa Arthur to the Burma Camp Military Cemetery, his final resting place. There, Vice President Dr. Baumia, the clergy, and more security agents joined the procession on foot, then preceded by the Armed Forces official band. The entourage escorted the remains to the burial site. 19 gunshots were fired in his honor as Vice President of the Republic and as Chairman of the Armed Forces Council. At the cemetery, wreaths were laid by the government, the family, his mother, his widow, children, the National Democratic Congress, the Methodist Church, as well as the 1969-year group of the Infanta Pim School, where the late Vice President had his secondary education. To crown it all, the presiding bishop said the final prayers that sent him home.
Working in us that which is well pleasing in His sight, through Jesus Christ, with whom be the glory, now and always. Amen. Amen.
Alas, former Vice President Kwesi Emisa Arthur has been laid to rest, a burial well befitting a man of his caliber. For Citi News, I am Marie-France Fojo.
May the soul of the former Vice President rest in perfect peace. Now, turning our attention to the legislature, a joint meeting of the Finance, Mines and Energy Committee in Parliament over the latest Ameri deal has been adjourned. This follows the minority's call for fresh information on the deal that is currently not available. Our parliamentary correspondent Duke Menso-Poku has been monitoring this development and has more.
Wednesday night, an agreement for innovation and amendment of the Ameri Power deal was laid on the floor of Parliament by government, and the Speaker referred it to a joint committee of Finance and Mines and Energy to consider it and bring it back to plenary for possible approval. Now, that was supposed to have been done on Thursday, but on Thursday, the parties could not make time to meet and consider it. So that meeting happened early on this morning. And in this morning's meeting, the various parties once again, and by the parties I'm talking about the Energy Ministry, the PURC, VRA, Ameri themselves, the minority and the majority sides of Parliament on the Finance and Mines and Energy Committee could not agree on where they were going to with this deal. Now, there were 4 issues, mainly legal issues, that were raised by some members of the minority on the committee. The first issue they raised was that of a letter approving the new Ameri deal by the Finance Minister. Now, according to them, this is per the dictates of the Public Financial Management Act, which states explicitly that when it comes to deals of such nature or agreements of such nature, the Finance Committee, the Finance Minister, with the letter under his hand, must approve the financials and say that, well, this agreement is good for the country, we can go ahead with it. That letter or that document carrying the advice of the Finance Minister was absent, so they could not consider it. Secondly, they were asking for a value for money audit or a value for money analysis or a due diligence on the new owners, that's miscellaneous, and also the deal itself for the 15-year span that is going to last. What value for money audit has been done on it? What is the due diligence that has been done on it? What information is government bringing to board with regards to this? That also was missing. That answer could not be given at that committee meeting. Again, they were also asking for PURC to provide the cost build-up, the cost structure, and how this would affect the mix, the electricity mix in the country with regards to tariffs, how much we're going to pay because we are going for this new deal. The PRC could not provide that document. And the last thing they were asking for was a legal opinion, since this is a transaction of such a magnitude, over millions of dollars. It requires, they see that the legal opinion of the Attorney General. That was also missing from the meeting. And because of these 4 pieces of information and documents that the officials of government could not provide to the Joint Committee on Finance and Mines and Energy, the minority felt that, or they pushed that, the meeting should be suspended. And in fact, all the parties agreed that until this information is provided to the committee so that they can do proper scrutiny, proper oversight, and proper analysis of this Ameri deal, the latest innovation and amendment to this Ameri deal, the committee cannot continue its work. So the meeting this morning ended inconclusively, and all the parties are waiting for this information to come aboard so that it would enhance the deliberations and discussions. But mind you, the committee was racing against time. Parliament is supposed to go on recess on Saturday. Initially, it was supposed to be on Thursday, but due to other considerations, it's been sent to Saturday. And they were racing against time to get the committee to do the work, bring it back to plenary, it is approved, and then government can start implementing this whole new, change or amendment to the Ameri deal. We all know the politics and the other issues that has surrounded the Ameri deal since it was signed in 2015. The recent was a motion for rescission moved by Katie Hammond. The committee has finished this work. It has not been brought to Parliament. There was a Philip Addison committee that said that the deal was overpriced by $150 million. It is for all of these considerations that government is trying to amend the deal. But it looks like the minority is asking for more information. And currently, as I speak to you, it looks like that information is not available. So all deliberations will be halted until the extra information can be provided for perusal, consideration, and probably some agreement will be reached for the House to consider it. We stay with the story. In the Institute of Energy Security, IES, has also opposed the new arrangement on the Ameri Power deal, which is currently before Parliament. According to the Executive Director of the IES, Kwesi Anamwa-Sichi, the arrangement has no merit.
If you bring in a new deal, that brings us back to 11.7 cents per kilowatt hour. Are you doing as good? Because when you look at the total average cost per kilowatt hour in the existing agreement, you will have somewhere around 11.4591 cents per kilowatt hour. That's you putting the first 5 years against the 14.591 and the next 15 years against 10.4149 cents per kilowatt hour. On average terms, over the 20-year period, we'll be paying 11.45 cents per kilowatt hour. In the proposed agreement, we are seeing a tariff charge of about 11.7. In fact, when you do the calculation, we are going to pay the 15 years period about 1.6 billion over the 15 years period in the new agreement. We think that this will not help Ghana, and we are urging Parliament not to approve of this new deal because it's going to cost us more than what we have currently.
Citi Newsroom has cited a report from the Privileges Committee of Parliament recommending that Asin Central Member of Parliament Kennedy Japan be suspended or reprimanded for his alleged contemptuous comments made against the House.
Mr. Japan was hauled before the Privileges Committee after the Minority Chief Whip, Muntaka Mubarak, filed a motion accusing him of making denigrating comments against the House. Here are excerpts of the committee's report cited by Citi Newsroom.
The committee has carefully considered the matter in the light of the totality of the evidence gathered and in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution, the standing orders and other relevant enactments, concluded that the Member of Parliament for the Asin Central constituency is indeed in contempt of Parliament for the remarks he made that, quote, Parliament is cheap, unquote, and, quote, Parliament is useless, unquote. Accordingly, the committee recommends to the House to adopt its report and sanction Honourable Kennedy Ejapon by suspending him for the rest of this session or reprimand him.
Now, away from Parliament, over 140 houses at Shama and Lot Beach in the Western region have been washed away by tidal waves.
Residents who are predominantly fishermen say they are unable to go fishing as their landing shores have been seriously eroded by the waves. Citi News' Akwesi Ejeanim has more.
1 midnight, and we hear that the sea was rough. Immediately, it entered into our house. So we were there thinking about how we should move from the house. As a chicken of an eye, then it entered into the bedrooms. So we have to pack our things to a next house. Those who will get a place for us to pack our things.
These fishermen say they cannot even go to fishing because of the eroded seashore. But they are not the only ones affected.
I'm a fishmonger, and this sea erosion thing has affected our livelihood. Because of the fishermen not getting fish for us to also smoke, it has also affected our work seriously, because our sisters and our children cannot get money. Those who have gotten admissions to go to universities are not getting money at his, because it is this sea that gives us those resources.
The assemblyman of Shama and Low Beach, Samuel Bolu, gives an account of the destruction to the community.
Many houses have been washed away. So many houses, we keep on counting. The last time when they counted was around 200. And then on daily basis, on weekly basis, on monthly basis, they keep on counting. As you see around the area, this is the school building, which has been eaten by the sea. We just instructed the carpenters here to at least try to salvage some of the materials so that it could be used for other community activities. The school building you see at the back here, maybe by August it might not be here again, because the last time when I was here about 2 months ago, the sea was quite fast. So you still keep on eating on daily basis.
Assistant headmaster of the Anlo Beach Methodist Primary laments the disruption to academic work.
At times you can be in the school when the sea flooded, it takes the whole compound, almost half of the compound here, and we cannot learn for that day. Because of that, it distorted everything. We have to move them to class 4 class and go and pair class 4 and 5 in a room. Because of the sea erosion, all these buildings have been abandoned, and we are suffering where to get a classroom to learn. Next time, before we come, we don't know what is going to happen, because it's a new academic year. We have to take new people, but if it's happening this way, we can't take anyone.
But what does the community want with this continuous threat from the sea?
Well, the community, as it is now, either the sea defense or the resettlement.
I therefore asked the Shama District Chief Executive what could be delaying the resettlement.
We've had some few responses. I think JICA, I think the German embassy, the Korean embassy as well, that they will come in to help. We are still expecting them to come. Unfortunately for us, there were litigations with the land.
Reporting from the Shama and Low Beach, I am Akwesi Ejenim for Citi Newsroom.
In a bid to clamp down on the use and trafficking of illicit drugs in the country, the Narcotics Control Board today destroyed narcotic substances estimated at 500 Ghana cities at the Bundas military range in the Greater Accra region. The drugs were seized between December 2017 and July 2018. Citi News' Farida Shaibu observed the exercise.
The 2016 World Drug Report by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, ranked Ghana number 3 in Africa as a safe haven for transit of illicit drugs to other parts of the world. The International Narcotics Control Strategy Report also noted that marijuana was the main illicit drug used in Ghana, and it is trafficked within and from the country. In December last year, the Narcotics Control Board, NACOB, confiscated some 500 kilograms of marijuana and 100 kilograms of khat, normally used in the production of shisha. Today, the team, together with some journalists, drove to the Bundazi military range to destroy the substance worth 500,000 Ghana cedis. These drugs include khat and marijuana, what people like to call in the local parlance as in Tampe, weed, Avonsamtawa, and all several other names that can be given to it. Now, the marijuana alone is about 500 kilograms, and it amounts to about 500,000 Ghana cedis, owed 5 billion. And the cat is in excess of about 100,000 Ghana cedis. Now, these one, as you can see behind me, are being destroyed in a bid by the NACOP to fight illicit drug in Ghana. Solomon Stanley Ayo is a head of enforcement at NACOP.
One thing about drug dealers, I always say that drug dealers are smart people. And to speak straightforward, fools don't deal in drugs. What they do is that, CAT is not produced in Ghana. It's in East Africa, as I said. And to send it directly from East Africa to Europe or UK to be highly suspected. So what they do is to create a diversion. So they bring it to Ghana here. When they come, they repackage it as moringa to send it to those final destinations. But as we've seen it, we got to stop it, because if we don't do that and it's discovered there, Ghana's image will be tarnished in the international community, because we are allowed it to go. So once it gets here, we seize it and destroy it.
The 2017 United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime also reveals that the worldwide cannabis community hovers at approximately 183 million members, which is roughly 3.8% of the world's population.
Cards comes from the post office. As I was telling you, they post it through the post office, and then when they get it, they repackage it and send to their final destination. So we have our men at the post office also working 24/7.
Even though some argue that marijuana should be legalized due to its enormous health benefits, NACOP says it is not time yet for legalization.
They may have good purposes, but we must put them at the right use. But until the United Nations, which Ghana is a member, gives the go-ahead, I don't think we'll be able to do anything, because we are a member of the United Nations, and the UN says that it's an illegal drug, narcotics, causes harm. So, as they say, we must go together.
For Citi News, Farida Shaibu, Bondase.
500,000 cedis worth of Indian hemp.
That's a lot.
Of course, but I think that this is a step in the right direction, because the rate at which people are really getting into narcotics these days is really worrying, especially the young people.
Yes, and I'm happy this has happened. I think that the laws need to bite harder. The authorities need to do a better job of getting all these drugs off the streets. I know it's a challenge. It's very difficult. People find ingenious ways of getting them in, but you have to do your work to save this country. Like you said, young people are playing with a lot of these dangerous drugs. And we need to take them away from
ones
that.
that are very easy to get, like the tramadols and all these.
Yes.
You can get them over the counter, and this is really, really worrying.
It is,
because the rate at which the young people are going into this is the future of Ghana. We often say this, but what investment
are we making into securing these people so that the future that we want them to build will be enhanced? Anyway, you're still watching the Citi Newsroom live on Citi TV. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we have more stories for you.
It's engaging, detailed, and loaded with factual and incisive analysis. It's The Big Issue, your preferred Saturday morning news and current affairs analysis program on Citi TV. Tune in this and every Saturday at 9 a.m. and hear the newsmakers discuss the top issues for the week.
At that time, Charlotte was complete. I'm not defending Charlotte. I'm talking about the way we behave like hypocrites and ostriches in this country. At that time, she was a perfect person.
It's The Big Issue with Sela Madonu on Citi TV. This and every Saturday at 9 a.m.
Wherever the weekend sporting action happened, we will bring it to you here on Scorecard. Every goal, every dunk, every punch, the winning strides, and the winning volleys.
International media, he said, look, wait, sit and wait. Let me have a meal with my people. And I think that's the same cool, it's the same organization he brings to the field every time I've seen him play. He looks to me like somebody who has played over 50 caps already. Okay. But this guy has barely played over 25 caps for the national team.
All of the weekend's action in one place. Scorecard, every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. prompt on Citi TV.
Welcome back to the Citi Newsroom. Thank you very much for staying with us. Let's get to education. And the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, says it will go ahead with its intended strike over unpaid book and research allowances, despite the government's appeal. According to them, the government has not communicated formally on measures it intends to put in place to address their concerns. This follows a minister in charge of education, tertiary education rather, Professor Kwesi Yanka's call on them to rescind their decision to embark on a strike. And for more on this, we've been joined by Dr. Harry Agbanu, who's the national president of UTAG. Dr. Agbanu, thank you very much for joining us on the Citi Newsroom. Hello.
Thank you very much, my brother, and good evening to your listeners.
First of all, why is UTAG insisting on going on a strike despite the minister's call to UTAG so that they would hold on and try to solve this matter?
Thank you very much. Let me quickly make this question. I'm not the national president. I've handed over to my colleague in UCC, Dr. Eric Opoku-Mensah, as the national president. I am the president for University of Ghana.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification.
Yes, to your question, UTAG has not decided that it's going on strike. What UTAG has said is that we appeal to government to pay the book and research allowances by 31st of this month. After which we'll go back to our members to seek their views on what the next line of action should be. So it's pretty sad that people have decided to decide for UTAG what the next line of action will be. We haven't said in our communique, in our press conference, that we are going on strike. However, as you rightly said, we have not received any formal response from government. In any case, the minister in charge of tertiary education, my senior colleague, Prof. Yanka, I pity him. I pity him because we know that the Ministry of Education is as equally disappointed as us, as UTAG, because they have done everything in their power, but the Ministry of Finance is not responding to the urgency of the situation. And so an assurance from the Ministry of Education will not be anything that our members would be willing to accept unless we receive that assurance from the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Finance that is adamant to responding to our concern. And so our members are not at all enthused about the fact that the Ministry of Education is appealing, because the problem is not coming from the Ministry of Education. They have presented all the documents to the Ministry of Finance. They have followed up. They have done all they can. They have done all the lobbying. It is the Ministry of Finance that is treating the concerns of UTAG with some disdain, and that is unfortunate.
Dr. Danu, have you reached out to the Ministry of Finance to find out what possibly the challenges are in trying to secure your book and research allowance? Because just like you said, the Ministry of Education has done its part, papers have been submitted, but it seems the challenge is coming from the end of the Ministry of Finance. Have you reached out to them to find out what the possible challenges may be?
My brother, in Ghana, everyone is due you. If you don't follow up, nobody works on it. So UTAC is almost the Ministry of Finance. The usual cliche, we are working on it. It will be done. You give us some time. That is it. Because it does not concern them. They don't see the need. It is not coming to them. University lecturers in Ghana are not important. So nothing that concerns them is of any importance to them. And so we have reached with ends. There's nothing we can do anymore. It is not easy to be following up on what is due us every day. You get what I mean? We must not, university lecturers must not be going to the Ministry of Finance to beg, virtually beg, to be given what is their due. But that is what we have been reduced to. So if you are asking whether we have followed up to the Ministry of Finance, we have for the past 6 months.
All right.
That is how sad it is, my brother.
Finally, Dr. Agbanu, so you've given a deadline or an end date to the Ministry of Education. When that date elapses, should it elapse without any resolution to this challenge? What are some of the possible lines of action you are looking at taking?
I wouldn't know. But as I said at the beginning, we are going back to our members, our constituents. Whatever they ask us to do, we will do. But we don't know the decision they will make. But I can assure you, they are angry. They don't understand what is going on. And what they are saying is that they don't see how last year's book and research allowances will be in arrears, and they will start another academic year. So, but I don't know exactly what decision our membership will make. But as leadership, whatever they ask us to do, we'll do without looking back at all.
All right, Dr. Henry Agbanu, thank you very much for speaking to us on the Citi Newsroom. So you heard Dr. Henry Agbanu, who is the president of the Legon chapter of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG. We'll follow up on that story and bring you updates as and when we do get them right here on the Citi Newsroom. Let's move on to some other stories. And Citi Newsroom has gathered that the government of Ghana has promised to help to return the body of the late Ghanaian missionary who was shot dead in Cameroon. This follows the Citi News reports of the family of the missionary indicating that the government of Ghana had ignored their calls for help. The 28-year-old deceased, who is survived by a young widow and a 2-month-old baby, was shot dead in the troubled town of Batibo in Cameroon. You're still watching Citi Newsroom. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we have more stories, including the much talked about funky and fresh events, which is happening at the Labadi Beach Hotel, which is put together by the hotel, Citi FM and Citi TV. Don't go anywhere.
It's engaging, detailed, and loaded with factual and incisive analysis. It's The Big Issue, your preferred Saturday morning news and current affairs analysis program on Citi TV. Tune in this and every Saturday at 9 a.m. and hear the newsmakers discuss the top issues for the week.
At that time, Charlotte was complex. I'm not defending Charlotte. I'm talking about the way we behave like hypocrites and ostriches in this country. At that time, she was a perfect person.
It's The Big Issue with Stella Madonu on Citi TV. This and every Saturday at 9 a.m.
Thanks for staying with us. You're still watching Citi Newsroom live on Citi TV. Now, before we go on, Nathan, I think that we are welcoming the news of government, now doing everything possible to bring back the body of the missionary who was shot dead in Cameroon.
Yes, it's important that government had to jump in. I wasn't too happy with the initial response from the government and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So it's nice to know that the government is getting involved. But apart from bringing the body, I think the government also needs to get to the Cameroonian government and get to the bottom of this. This is not the first time this has happened.
Yeah.
I mean, 44 Ghanaians were murdered in Gambia. And the president, who was foreign minister at the time, tried to bring some clarity so he can go back to his notes, pull out a few tricks, and help the family by they're bringing the body now. But the next step, and I think which is more important, is finding out what exactly happened, and then they can get the Cameroonian government to also help as well.
With this, I dare say that it looks like we are getting somewhere with this. So hoping that the young man who also died in Russia will also get something done about it. The family should be hearing something, because this is what government should be doing.
Yeah, this is what government should be doing, especially concerning the 50,000 CD charge, which still beats my imagination.
And we need to get to the bottom of that as well.
That needs to be clarified.
Absolutely.
But the most important thing is for the government to help bring the body in, and then they can proceed to finding out if there are any expenses and possibly what caused the death of this young man. That's why we have embassies. That's why we have these high commissions. That's why they represent our people out there, and that's what the foreign minister.
So we shouldn't be found wanting,
of course,
in other places.
Not at all.
All right, so we are making some progress with that.
Good progress.
Moving on, defiant traders within the Ashaiman municipality have vowed to continue hawking in spite of the accident that claimed one life yesterday. A 22-year-old lost her life after the driver of a Kia truck ran into some hawkers and pedestrians.
According to the traders, they have nowhere to sell their goods as the assembly has failed to secure them a better place to do business. Elvis Washington has more in this report.
In all, 7 persons were involved in the accident. 1 person unfortunately lost her life, while 6 others sustained various degrees of injury. Some of the victims have been narrating the incident to Citi News. The MP for Ashaiman, Ernest Nogbe, together with some personalities within the municipality, paid a visit to the affected victims and had this to say.
I've been talking to the assembly on that regard. If you look at the situation from last year, when I was elected as an MP, we tried and managed getting a befitting place at least for those who were selling along the roadside at Ashma area, Ashma Junction. I evacuated those people to a new location that is around Ajay-Kodu now. People keep coming to Ashaiman because business booms along the boundaries of Ashaiman. So people keep coming from all walks of life. So we realize that the spaces that we created for these people
are not enough for them. So they always find themselves along the roadside selling the shoulders of the road, which is very bad. And if the assembly does not take stringent measures to evacuate, to sack these people, and have a sustainable plan to make sure that they don't return back to the shoulders of the road, we may be facing these kind of casualties in the near future. And I also want to endorse the assembly to make sure that the toll that they are taking from the people, it is rather, to me, it is rather encouraging them to remain by the roadside.
The manager at the Accident and Emergency Unit at the Tema General Hospital, Ernest Awinimi, noted that all the 4 patients currently on admission are responding to treatment.
I got 3 on admission, was 2 have been discharged yesterday, one left this morning. So as of now, we have 3 on admissions at the accident center. We have 1 on the road and 2 have been discharged. Of course, 1 passed away yesterday. And those who have been here, so they are doing dresses over there. There's one over there X-ray. Other ones that are doing the change for dresses. So generally, they are very stable. Those who are here, they are very stable. We may have to look at the one on admission over there to see how she's doing. Yeah, but generally, they are doing well.
The Ashaiman Municipal Assembly is actually here driving away hawkers who are hawking on the street. But what is happening is that as soon as the assembly authorities moves from one place to the other, to another place, these hawkers jump back and then come to where they left off. Here are some of the traders who hawk on the street trying to express their frustration.
Yesterday the news, it got in turning out. We don't know how to go on it. So we are waiting for the government every day, each and every time. They keep on catching us. I'm sending us to go out from here, taking our goods. Sometimes when they take the goods, you have to go to the office and pay. And this thing is not helping issues at all. So we are pleading with the government, if there's a place, a comfortable place they can give us so that we can stay that place and do our business well, because we are here and we must earn living. And the government is not well for us, understand? So if there's any place they can give us, we are comfortable, we can go there and make our living.
It's quite sad. You know, after the death of the person, you would expect that there'll be a good follow through, but it looks like the authorities are still going back and forth with the traders. And
the traders themselves say they are not going anywhere. I'm surprised they themselves...
Once authorities are taking money from them, they'll feel justified.
I get that, you know, but sometimes you are responsible for your life.
That is
true. You understand? I mean, the person who died yesterday had been paying toll.
That is true.
But she is dead. And I think that it's about time that we as individuals also watch out for ourselves,
That
you
is
know,
true.
and then take care of... If somebody is not taking care of you, you just can't live your life in the hands of people and say that they are not doing it.
But I think the city authorities also need to be up and doing. If there's a space for them, designated space, well-built space, and they need to be there, send them there. If they are there, patrons will find them.
Exactly, because this is not negotiable. There are markets that, I mean, these traders are abandoning. You know, we've used state monies to build markets, and traders don't want to go there because they think that it's easier to reach customers by the roadside. But apart from the dangers and all, it doesn't speak well of us, and it doesn't bring sanity on our roads. And the unnecessary traffic that we all experience on our roads are most of the times due to some of these things. You realize that human beings or traders take half of the road that cars are supposed to be driving on. And we are recording these all the times, and the state will also have to spend monies, you know, I mean, all these people in the hospitals, who is taking care of them, and then we are paying for that.
Well, the authorities will have to be up and doing, but let's move on from a sad note to a happy note. And today at the Labadi Beach Hotel, there's a great partnership happening between Citi FM, Citi TV, and the hotel. Now, these 3 people, or these 3 entities, are bringing you an all-dance event, funky and fresh, which is currently taking place at the Labadi Beach Hotel without the 2 of us.
Well, so patrons who are yet to get to the venue, like the 2 of us, should expect to be treated to some good music across all genres. Listeners of Citi FM and viewers of Citi TV will also be treated to great food and drinks, an opportunity to network. There is more in this report.
Tonight,
The Omanya foyer of the Labadi Beach Hotel will be as charged as this and more, with great music from one of Ghana's finest DJs, DJ Amani of Citi FM. Funky and Fresh is an event that offers a platform for workers to unwind and ease off stress after a hard day's work. It will feature DJ Amani, who has promised to serve a good dose of songs from rock, old school, dance hall, reggae, Afro house, Afro pop, hip life, hip hop, and many more. Prior to this evening's event, staff of Citi FM had a warm-up session on Citi TV. The third edition of the Funky and Fresh is organized by Labadi Beach Hotel in collaboration with Citi 97.3 FM with support from Citi TV, Big Ideals Consult, Bacardi, Let's Be Seated, Legacy Hotels and Resorts. Nathan, so you should show me some dance moves, you know, because I know what you can do, man. I know what you can do
as well.
So I mean, so
okay,
you
fine.
should.
Okay, fine. So
ready?
So they should just play the song. That's the song, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
so do that part of move. Yeah. Oh, come on, man. I'm enjoying this, so we do that. Look at this Tom Shakwe.
Shut up.
Oh, there you go. All right. I mean, it's going to be an interesting night, you know, because I'm already sweating and I just can't wait to be there.
Of course, when we are done, we're heading straight there.
Absolutely, you know, my jeans is just waiting. You know, my dancing shoes are ready as well, and I just can't wait.
Yeah, it should be fun. So if you're out there watching us and you don't know how to spend time with or what to do with your Friday evening, just drive to Labadi Beach Hotel. Go have fun. It's Funky and Fresh, the third edition, only brought to you by the good people here at Citi TV, Citi FM, and the Labadi Beach Hotel.
And that is it for Citi Newsroom. Visit citinewsroom.com for more news. All right, thank you very much for your time. My name is Premier Dunyame.
My name is Nathan Kwa. Do have a great evening.